Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. Today, I'm going to be talking about why it is so difficult for twin flames to date other people from a spiritual perspective, from an energy perspective. So the reason that dating other people is challenging after meeting your twin flame is because of what occurs within you energetically upon meeting your twin, and the resulting effects of that energetic meeting, so to speak. So I am going to be diving into that in this podcast video. But first, if you are new to the channel, welcome. I am sending you so much love and positive energy today. I invite you to subscribe to this channel if you do resonate with twin flame content and material, because by subscribing, this does tune you into our beautiful collective here. And an added benefit of this is it does allow me to pick up on your energy more easily when I do future reading videos as well. So many twin flames experience the frustration of having met their twin, having gone through all of these very intense signs, symptoms, synchronicities with this person, going through the running, the chasing, potentially separation in the physical world, although of course there is no separation at the soul level. So this is really just the illusion of separation in 3D, but regardless, it can be a very painful, confusing time to our physical human self to be separate from our twin. And in those moments where we might find ourselves wondering if a harmonious physical reunion is possible with our twin flame, we might feel guided to participate in the dating scene, to pursue other romantic opportunities and interests. And of course, it is our free will to be able to make such choices. There is no right or wrong here, only what is right or wrong for you. And of course, I always say to follow your own intuition, because the intuition is the compass of your soul's journey here on earth. But why is it that so often as twin flames, even when we make this conscious free will choice to date other people, we find ourselves either very quickly losing interest, finding that these situations tend to just mysteriously fade away. We might find ourselves being ghosted at random by people that we are attempting to pursue romantically, or again, just losing interest, finding that our connections romantically after meeting our twin just seem to dissolve or seem unsustainable in some way. And of course, I'm not saying that this is the experience of everyone who will find this video. I am speaking to those of you who have had this experience along your path in hopes to provide a perspective from which we could potentially understand why this could be occurring. So, when you meet your twin flame, yes, there are the physical signs, the synchronicities, the way that we feel in our bodies, things we experience in our physical world that indicate this is a twin flame connection. But the one true way to know who our true twin flame is actually to analyze the energetics of the connection. And specifically, when we meet a twin flame, there will be an energy exchange that occurs between us that is like none other. This will occur between all 7 chakra centers, which is really just to say that it is the beginning of a merging process between ourselves and our twin flame at the energetic level, where massive amounts of energy are exchanged through all of the energy centers of our being. And because of this huge influx of energy, what happens is the energy of our being raises to a very high vibration instantaneously. This could be compared to a spontaneous spiritual awakening. And in fact, twin flame path is one vehicle to spiritual awakening. It is not the only vehicle, meaning it is not the only pathway to awakening. There are many different pathways that souls choose in their incarnation to experience an awakening if they are choosing to have a spiritual awakening in this incarnation. But if you found this video and you are resonating with this content so far with the idea of twin flames, it's very likely that your soul chose twin flame connection as its unique vehicle to experience a spiritual awakening in this life. Now, through this spontaneous raising of our energy, this is where we experience those few weeks or months. For others, it may only be a brief few moments or days. We call this period of time shortly after fully connecting with our twin flame in some way in the physical, whether it's online, whether it's meeting in person. We call this the honeymoon phase, because it's a period of time where things tend to feel very blissful. We almost feel as though we are on some kind of spiritual high or cloud nine. It feels like we are completely connected to our twin flame in the physical and mind, body, and soul. And there is such a resulting feeling of unconditional love for ourselves, for others, for our twin, such a feeling of connectedness to all things and to our higher spiritual self. This is often a very magical time in the sense that because we are in such a high vibration, we experience number synchronicities and other signs of simply being in that higher energetic space, perceiving our reality from those higher levels of existence. But more importantly, what is occurring through this rapid raise in our vibration as a result of exchanging energy through our twin flame meeting is that huge blast of energy is detaching us from what we often call our physical 3D matrix. It's essentially unplugging us from our current energetic set points and therefore our current timeline, the current trajectory of our lives. This is why people often say that meeting a twin flame felt like the absolute turning points of their life, that nothing was ever the same. They can even look back on their life, and you might be able to do this as well in reflection. You may be able to see that so much of your life can be broken down into prior to connecting with your twin flame and realizing you're on this path, and after, because the energetic exchange caused you to become completely detached from your current trajectory of life that we call a timeline. Now, this is a very highly complex subject that really we could discuss in hundreds, probably thousands of videos. But essentially, your timeline is the current path that you are on at this moment in the physical world. Most people who are unawakened remain on essentially the same trajectory of life, the same timeline. They tend to work similar types of jobs. They live in similar types of places. They are able to sustain a very coherent sense of themselves and their life. Much of this is based in ego, in 3D thinking, but because they haven't awakened to their true inner spiritual nature, they are comfortable identifying mostly with those aspects of the personality, the human 3D self. And therefore, things in their life tend to remain very consistent because, again, they are on one timeline. However, if you are someone who experiences a spiritual awakening, such as happens through an event like meeting your twin flame, you become detached from that timeline, that way in which your life was set to go from a 3D perspective. This is why we often experience an ego death, because when we become detached from that set timeline, yes, we become free in the sense that we can now choose to consciously mold energy to create the future of our life into place, into being. And we were never aware of this power when we were living on that one set unawakened timeline trajectory. However, it takes 99.9% of people a good deal of time to get their footing after they get detached from their set timeline trajectory. So for most of us, following this immense high, when we have this rush of energy flowing through us from our twin, which raises our vibration very high, causes us to essentially glimpse a higher timeline. We fall back down to a lower timeline, typically one that is even lower than the one we began on prior to meeting our twin flame, for a temporary period of time that we often call an ego death or a dark night of the soul. This is us becoming acquainted with our true inner self, our soul self, but in the process, watching all the aspects and components and areas of ourselves and our lives that were built from the ego-based mentality, from a 3D way of thinking. All of these things begin crumbling down because they, in a sense, were artificial. And as being artificial, being something we constructed in this life, but not really who we are at a soul level, they can't withstand the huge amounts of energy beginning to flow through us. So as we watch so much of ourselves and our lives change, or what we perceive to be ourselves change, because really we are just becoming acquainted with the true inner self and distancing from that artificial projection of self built on what others told us we should be. But in the process, we will tend to experience a temporary period of time where our vibration and therefore our timeline trajectory is actually at a lower level than when we started. We might literally feel as though our life is falling apart. But the beautiful thing about this is, unlike previously when we were on this very set timeline trajectory because we were unawakened, because we weren't aware that we were capable of consciously creating our reality, unlike that time, we now, from this lower vibrational timeline, from this ego death experience we are having, are becoming consciously aware of our true power. We are becoming acquainted with our true inner self. And as a result, over the course of time, this powerful energy begins to work its way through our blockages, our barriers, our limiting beliefs, our artificial aspects of self that were never really us to begin with. And it causes this kind of magnetism to be created around us that begins pulling to us more of those deep soul desires and resultant manifestations from those authentic desires. But be gentle with yourself if you're in the midst of this process, or even still going through the ego death or dark night of the soul, because it is inevitable that over time this energy will work through you, raise your vibration, help you to attract more of what you desire in life from an authentic heart space. But it does take time. It is a gradual and very, very intense process, which is why most souls never choose, don't elect in this life to go through such an intense energetic experience as meeting a twin flame. Because it is highly intense and it is too much for many younger souls to handle. But you listening to this podcast are most likely a very old soul. You carry an ancient spiritual nature, a spiritual maturity about you that has evolved through countless lifetimes to prepare you for this beautiful unfolding path you are on now. And to assist you along this journey, I've created a 7 chakra energy clearing subliminal meditation This is such a powerful tool, especially for you as a twin flame, because it will work through each of these 7 energy centers in your energy body, reprogramming any limiting beliefs or negative subconscious thoughts, uprooting those negative frequencies and vibrations, cleansing your energy, and allowing you to reach those heights of vibration and that natural state of magnetism that is your birthright and is your destination along this journey. So this subliminal comes from my subliminal site, soundandsoulful.com. As you can see on the screen on this website, I have over 100 subliminals for all areas of life. So I have subliminals for physical appearance changes, for mood shifts like confidence, happiness, anxiety relief, for money, for manifestation, for business success, and so much more. And this twin flame 7 chakra clearing will not only help you clear your energy, magnetize your frequency with the highest vibration on the planet, which is unconditional love. It will also help you to attract greater harmonious connection with your twin, as well as attracting in more love and positive attention and positive results in other areas of your life as well. And you can try out this subliminal or any that I've created, and even create your own custom private playlists when you sign up for a free trial account on my website. And again, all of that information is in the pinned comments and description box under this video. Okay, so now that we have a backdrop set for energy, vibration, spiritual awakening, twin flame meeting, and how all of those things fit together, let's talk about the key question here, which we can now answer using that knowledge, why it is often so difficult to go back to or to continue old romantic relationships, connections after meeting a twin flame. Well, it all comes down to energy, vibration, and timelines. So most people are able to sustain non-soul-based connections, meaning not a soulmate, not a twin flame, someone who they connect with through their personality, their human, physical self in this lifetime, through their accumulated interactions, conversations, getting to know each other, sharing experiences, sharing memories in this lifetime. Most people build their relationships in this way. And of course, we can build relationships, 3D relationships with soulmates and with twin flames. But the difference is beneath that 3D relationship is something eternal, is this 5th dimension aspect to our connection that transcends time and space, that transcends this lifetime. This 5D connection with our twin flame and with soulmates, of course, although soulmates are a whole different video topic. It would take a while to dissect all of that, but essentially soulmates can exist at different levels, meaning we have lower level soulmates that we may have shared a few lifetimes with, that we may have a relatively similar soul vibration to, and then we have high level soulmates that we've shared many, many lifetimes with, that we share a very similar vibration to. These high level soulmates can almost seem similar at times to twin flames because of how ancient these connections go and how high vibrational these connections are, meaning we share a similar core soul frequency to very high level soulmates, but only our twin flame shares our identical core soul frequency, meaning we were created at the same moment in time, so to speak, of our soul's origin. We have the same origin point as a soul, and as such, we have been sharing or living parallel lives or sharing lives for lifetime after lifetime since the birth of the soul, so to speak, many, many lifetimes ago. So these connections are soul-based connections, run very deep, and create this sense of home, this sense of familiarity that is not present to the same degree and as early on in other forms of non-soul-based connections, meaning connections purely based in the 3D. So this means that, to put it simply, we become a lot pickier after meeting our twin flame because we can't really help it energetically. We have been introduced to what it feels like to be with another soul to whom we feel this deep, natural sense of connectedness. And because of this, when we attempt to go back to the getting to know each other process of building a traditional 3D relationship, it can actually begin to bore us or feel very burdensome to be getting to know a person from square one to whom we don't feel that same initial sense of depth, connection, and familiarity. And this process of trying to get to know others romantically can actually at times cause us to miss our twin flame or to feel homesick for this connection, because what we are missing is, again, that natural feeling of connectedness that we share with very strong soul-based connections that simply isn't present within these more 3D based bonds. The same is true for previous romantic connections that may have been in our life prior to meeting our twin flame. If these connections were based in entirely 3D things, our twin flame will come along and show us this kind of depth within relationships we never knew possible, because again, it is a depth that runs deep to the soul that transcends this lifetime and every lifetime. And we might be surprised to realize we can feel closer to our twin flame in a short amount of time than we ever have felt to certain friends, possibly certain family members, or even long-term romantic partners from our past, which again can make it difficult for us to feel inspired, to desire to continue some of these non-soul-based connections. Of course, this is not to say that it is not possible, but it does present new challenges. Another reason energetically that it's very difficult for us to pursue other non-soul-based forms of connection after meeting a twin flame simply has to do with timelines. Most people that we encounter, 95 to 99% plus of people that we meet, we could share a potential timeline with if we were to reattach ourselves to a timeline with that person who themselves is most likely unawakened at a relatively low level of spiritual consciousness, unless they are part of that 1 to 5% or even less of people. And so because we've become detached from any specific set timeline, we are very unlikely to ever even attempt to reattach ourselves to one set timeline with a new person. So essentially, we can only really continue and sustain relationships that are willing to travel with us, to move with us from timeline to timeline, meaning they are those who are also becoming conscious creators of their own lives, those who have detached themselves from any one set timeline, and those with whom we share a similar, if not identical, core soul frequency. Now, of course, it's only our twin flame that shares an identical core soul frequency, but in high-level soulmate situations, or even with our soulmates, the frequency is very similar. So it's easier for these forms of soul connection to move with us through timeline after timeline, which makes it easy to sustain soul-based connections after our awakening in a way that we find much more challenging within non-soul-based connections and relationships. So essentially, we become pickier in the sense that we really hold out for strong soul-based connections, those who are capable and willing of growing and evolving with us. And very often we find that if we aren't connecting with those types of people, We would rather be by ourselves for a temporary period of time than spend time trying to reattach ourselves to someone's specific timeline and lower our vibration or keep our vibration at a set level and therefore limit our creative power just to connect with this one specific person on their timeline. Now, I know all of this is a very high level kind of conversation, so I do hope I was able to find some of the words to describe this dynamic. I hope this helped to bring you a little bit of clarity if you found it difficult to either continue, sustain, or begin new romantic relationships after meeting your twin flame. I would really love to hear your thoughts about this topic in the comments under this video. I always love hearing from you in the comments, building that strong sense of community with one another. I am so grateful to each and every one of you here for being co-creators along with me, manifesting all of these podcasts, these readings, and these pieces of information. You can follow me on Instagram at Magnetize Yourself, where I post twin flame updates and information. Otherwise, I am wishing you a beautiful rest of your day, and I will talk to you again in the next video.